Hello, my beautiful rock stars. It's your girl Rocqi, your revolutionary hippie from Life is Rocqi. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm trying to get monetized, so make sure you check out my long form videos. That's any video over a minute long to help me get monetized, okay? But then while you at it, feel free to subscribe, okay? And remember to check out my Mommy Fever playlist. I have loads of stuff as far as my journey to and through motherhood. And we have a lot of construction and babies crying and it's a lot going on right now, so bear with me. I will be following this video with my postpartum video, so make sure you check that out and check out my other content as well. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, definitely check out my childbirth experience. I'll put that either in the link above, although that's been having issues, so I'll definitely put it at the end of this video. But yeah, definitely check out my childbirth experience. So let's get into today's video. So today's video is breastfeeding and bed sharing. So first I want to explore with you my journey of breastfeeding. Okay. Now remember, Mommy Fever is to and through motherhood. So before I was even pregnant, I was doing research. So for me, I'm all about nature. I'm a student of nature. Okay. So within nature, there are mammals, called so because of the mammary gland. The mammary gland is the thing in these big boys that allow for the milk. Okay, so humans are mammals. There are other species who are mammals, and we all produce milk to feed our offspring. All right, so for me, breastfeeding was a no-brainer. This is what my body literally produces to feed my young. Okay, and then it's also connecting with other species who also feed their young, like horses and dolphins and elephants and orcas. You know, like it's like I'm one with nature. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm in balance within myself, with nature, with my baby. So that was all of like my reasoning as far as like this is the way it's meant to be. Now, benefits of breast milk are huge. Like one, when your baby is feeding, the body responds to the saliva they produce while feeding. So like if your baby is sick, your body recognizes that and will give them the antibodies that they need. It builds a strong immune system. And then it's also like magic milk, like how a cow's milk is meant to turn a calf into a cow. Breast milk is meant to turn a human baby into a bigger child, you know? So it's like it has all the nutrients that it needs, and it's meant directly for that unique baby. And they even show not only with the like a sick baby and a healthy baby, but also different babies. So like if you have twins or babies of different ages, you can see the differences in the milk based on what that individual baby needs. So you feed one baby on one breast, another baby on another breast. So yeah, you get, I'm trying to make sure baby's not crying, but I think we're good. So you get different nutrients based on what the baby actually needs. So like your body and baby are in tune. They're speaking to each other. They're getting the baby what the baby needs, and it's just magical and amazing. So why wouldn't you? You know? And then I also took classes prior to having my baby. I took like a quick intro, then I took a longer extended, then I took like a real legit breastfeeding course. So it taught me about latching, it taught me about the different phases of feeding, so I'll talk about that in a little bit. But it was very useful because even though my mom breastfed me for 3 months, that wasn't what I saw growing up. She had an in-home daycare, so it was formula for the daycare babies, and then I wasn't around anybody who breastfed. A lot of women seem to struggle with breastfeeding, even though I'm also coming from again, looking at ancestral wisdom. It was our ancestors who was feeding the white babies, you know, like we was doing that. If you look in Africa, we weren't wearing tops. We were just going around feeding babies. There's also a documentary called Babies that explores like 4 different babies from around the world. And one of the African babies, like, yeah, she was just letting them all hang out, and the baby would just come up and pop on the titty, you know? So like, yeah, breastfeeding is not only natural as a species, it's also natural to my Black ancestors, you know? Like like formula is new, you know, like what did they do before formula? They breastfed. If your body wasn't producing, somebody in the village was breastfeeding, so you could, you know, you can't pop on mine, pop on theirs, you know. So yeah, so I think, so my original goal was to breastfeed for 2 years, not on my breasts, so to speak. It was like breastfeed for a year, and then after that year, exclusively pump for that next year. Just because I really don't want to deal with a baby with teeth. Something just sounded. Oh, I think the power's back on. Yay! Yay! Sorry, they're doing construction. But yay, that makes me happy. But yeah, so I wanted to be able to, it lost my train of thought there. I don't know. I wanted to be like the ancestors too. Because they were doing that. So let's get into my actual breastfeeding journey. So one, I had my baby without meds vaginally, so that meant I could immediately do skin to skin contact after my child's birth. And skin to skin contact helps with oxytocin, which is the signal, the hormone in your body that signals to produce milk. But then I think there's another hormone that it might be proglandin, or I forgot what the term is, but that actually like gets the milk flowing. There's one that's like, okay, time to make the milk, and there's another one that's like time to get the milk out of you, basically. But I can't remember what is the other one. I think it's something with a P. But oxytocin is definitely coming from skin to skin contact, telling your body, okay, it's time to produce this milk. It's time, baby's here, time to bring this milk on. So we immediately did skin to skin contact for an hour. Yes, I did it for an hour. All the doctors can kick rocks. I'm doing it for an hour. And then I had my baby latch within that time frame. Something that was very helpful for me was the nose to nipple. So when you put your nipple on like right here where the little indentation is, they like open their mouth wide. So I think of it as like sop the burger up. So like how you have a big burger and you know, that's basically what your baby needs to do with your breast, like onto your breast, right? So if you're putting the nose to nipple, they're more likely to open wide and grab all of, not all of your areola, but like a big chunk of breast. So they're not solely on your nipple, but they're not, my areolas are huge, so she's not wide enough to cover the whole thing, but your areola may be smaller, so it might be the whole thing. But she has a good chunk. It's not just the nipple. As if she's on just the nipple, sorry, I have a daughter. If they're on just the nipple, then it's a shallow latch. They won't be able to get the milk that they need. But if they have a deeper latch, sop the burger up, then they can get the milk that they need, and it's not as painful for you. However, it was still fucking painful, okay? I'm used to not having nothing on my nipples, something consistently on my nipples, okay? So it was definitely sore. Now, everybody's like, again, benefits of breast milk, to rub the breast milk on your like nipples and your areolas. But I only started producing after my baby was born. Some women produce in pregnancy. And then the first milk that you have is colostrum, liquid gold, and it's like very dense, nutritious breast milk before your breast milk actually comes in. So my breast milk came in the third day. It was like the day I got home, engorgement was like rocks. And I was like, oh my God, warm compress massage. My breast getting engorged now. But yeah, so I didn't have breast milk to be rubbing on my nipples. So nipple cream, that linoleum, whatever nipple cream, the purple stuff, that is gold, beautiful. Highly suggest that thing works. But yeah, so my nipples were hella sore. And then she was cluster feeding. On night 2, she was cluster feeding. Cluster feeding is like she feeding every hour on an hour. So like I'm barely sleep because I'm feeding her, and then she's up again and my nipples haven't had time to recoup, and it's like that was hell. And oh, she's crying again. So there's that part. And then yeah, the engorgement, hard as rocks. I forget when I go out that I don't have pumps with me. So it's like, oh snap, I need to get home and release. Hand pressing doesn't really work. I do leak all the time. I use a haka. And that's another thing with pumping. I didn't like the time that it took. Like, you have to feed the baby and then pump if you're not exclusively pumping. And it's a lot. It's a lot to do. So I have the haka. It just collects the milk that I drip. I like that. The machine pump, I had a wearable pump. Felt like I was a cow, just round, round, round. I didn't like it. And then also refrigeration, like the fact that I would need to bring all of the pumping equipment plus refrigeration tactics for my breast milk when I'm out and about is just a lot. So I can't even go that far. Right now, she's not really taking the bottle, so I got to go back and feed her. That's why I'm speaking fast. But at the end of the day, it's still worth it to me to give her the nutrients, the best chance in life. There's plenty of benefits as far as mental or cognitive development, as well as emotional. So I'm definitely a big advocate for breastfeeding, but it has been hard for my baby, for me to be the sole source of nutrition for my baby, and I have to constantly be feeding her, whether that's cluster feeding or not being able to be gone long because I can't deal with pumping and stuff, nor am I producing a lot with pumping. A lot of women, or not a lot, some women produce tons. My right produces more than my left, and then it's not always all the time. Mornings are the best time to pump, but it's like a lot of different freaking things to worry about, and it's a lot. Breastfeeding on demand is a lot. It's a lot on you. It's a lot to not be able to be away from your baby. It's a lot. So not everybody's able to do it, and I understand. It's a lot. I'm 2 months in. I'm still about that life, but it is a lot. Now as far as bed sharing is when you're sleeping with your baby. It is not recommended. I am not an expert. It is not recommended. Not recommended. Not recommended. Safe sleep is not including bed sharing. However, the ancestors did it. The ancestors didn't have solitary cribs or bassinet by your bed. Like, they was in a bed with them, right? Also, it's helpful for breastfeeding. I don't have to get up. It's helpful for dream feeding. So my baby dream feeds on her own, whereas like I don't have to rouse her to feed. She just turns to me because she's right next to me and feeds. And then also when I was taking my ancestral childbirth classes, they were talking about 9 months in, 9 months on. So if they spend that amount of time in you during pregnancy, they also need that time on you once they're born. Like, you are their home. They heard your heartbeat, they heard your blood, they heard you speaking, they were surrounded in warmth and water, but they were with you. So it's like, for them to go from that to being by themselves in a bed, bigger than that, by themselves in a room, is hard. They need to be with you. So 9 months in, 9 months on. So for the first month, like, she was sleeping in my arms or someone else's arms. But I think after that first month, I started doing the sideline breast position, which is I'm laying down and she's breastfeeding. So with dream feeding, she just turns over and grabs my breast. But yeah, for that, I was very nervous in the beginning because she was so small. Now she's 11 pounds, so she's a little bit bigger, a little bit chunkier. So I don't have as much concern as far as like rolling over her, you know. And I'm also a mom, so I'm hella worried. I'm also a light sleeper. So like now, like, yeah, I'm aware of her in the bed. She's able to dream feed. I'm able to breastfeed. And then I also get to snuggle with her and see her cuteness and just be with my baby. So like, I'm getting that oxytocin. She's getting that oxytocin. And yeah, it's a good feeling to have that bond, you know. And I know it's not gonna, like, she's gonna be in her own bed. And the biggest thing I get from doctors is like, you basically don't want a bed share because you don't want them to be older and still in your bed. And it's like, one, when they're older, they'll have language. We can discuss boundaries. But I also plan on getting a floor bed, Montessori style. So that way I can actually be in her bed and then just leave. So that way she has that comfort of falling asleep with me, and then yeah, she's able to be in her own bed. So we still put her in the bassinet like when she's awake. We got her to sleep for like 30 minutes in the bed with barriers by herself. She's not rolling yet. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. But I think I gotta wrap it up because she's crying and she needs me. But check out my Mommy Fever playlist. Let me know your thoughts on breastfeeding and bed sharing. And take care of you. Light and love.